Hey guys, welcome back. Conrad in the Making here. We're doing a book review today. I know it's been forever since I've done one. I've got them stacking up. I'm ready to crank some out. So hopefully I can get through a couple of them. Today we're doing a great one, All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. I think I'm pronouncing that right. It's a book that takes place in Nazi Germany and France, so hopefully I can get some of these pronunciations right. It won the Pulitzer Prize. It's an awesome book. Let's get into it. You're going to love it. This is Conrad. So first off, it's historical fiction, takes place in Nazi Germany, especially in France during the time. Anthony Doerr, he got his education, he's from Ohio, he's an American fiction writer. Granted, this is historical fiction, like I said, so there's a lot of actions that kind of take place around very historical and true events, but overall the story is fictional. That being said, it really is incredible. He does a great job of converging two different stories into one global massive picture in World War II. So the base summary, I'm not going to give you the full summary, it's spoiler free, don't worry, but there is a blind girl that lives in Paris with her father. Her father is kind of he works in a museum in Paris that has very valuable paintings, gems, things like that, and there's a special gem that may be the most special gem in all of France. And so what is happening is that during the German advance, they're starting to pack up all these valuables because Germans are starting to come in and take all these valuables to establish their big cultural revolution, essentially, after their planned takeover of the entire world, or Western Europe and all of that. And so what he does is that the father takes the gem, and him and his daughter, which is Laure, if I'm pronouncing that right in English, him and his daughter flee away from Paris because Germans are coming in. And so essentially she's blind, so it gets very interesting. It's a very delicate thing, especially in wartime. So what her father does is builds her essentially a miniature of their whole town, of all the streets and everything, so that she can get around herself. This comes in very handy for her later in the novel whenever she's walking around, whenever they flee to St. Malo in France, where they're staying with family or people that they know. She uses this technique again to get around. So she's a very vulnerable child in this time, and at a very vulnerable time of age to experience all this. And she's just one part of the story, and she eventually comes into the responsibility of taking care of this precious gemstone that's very visually captivating to everyone that sees it. There's a big mythological story behind it, and she's just one part of the story, essentially. Another part takes place in Nazi Germany. There's an orphan named Werner that, I guess maybe I'm pronouncing that right in English, but he's an orphan. He's very intelligent, and this comes right around the time of the use of the radio, the vast use of the radio using communication, things like that. And he stumbles upon it. He's able to build one, and he's actually conscripted into the German army, goes to an academy and everything, and so he himself is, fighting for the Nazi state, and so he is a whole different path, and eventually he goes through many hardships, meets many people, and he plays a massive part in the war effort, and his story eventually at the very end will converge with Laure in St. Malo. So the readability of it, it's about a 500-page book. It's really good, but it moves very quickly. And I was kind of concerned with it because a lot of times whenever I read books that have two different storylines, I often end up disregarding one story and waiting for the next chapter for the other one, essentially. This kind of happened to me in the book Devil in the White City, which I think is up there somewhere. But it didn't really occur in this book. I was very captivated by both Laure's story and Werner's story, and it was just incredible to see them grow up in this very two different side of things, and to listen and see the experiences that they come across, both equally captivating, very interesting. What I really appreciated about the novel is It uses a lot of imagery to describe the places, but a lot of metaphors in here especially. Every time you talk about World War II, you get into conversations about good versus evil, essentially, and it's no difference with this book. There's very clear sides to where you have an innocent child that's blind, that is fighting against a Nazi regime in her own way, essentially, trying to hide from people that are looking for this precious gemstone. The gemstone is called the Sea of Flames, and it's said that anyone who looks at it is completely captivated by it, but it's interesting because she is blind, essentially. She can't see it, and so she uses different ways to interact with the world through touch, through everything else, and so that's very interesting to see that she's not captivated by the stone and can therefore hide it successfully and carry out her objectives successfully, essentially. And so there's a lot of metaphors using light in here, which is mildly ironic because she cannot see, and so very interesting with that. On the other side, Werner's story, he's an orphan kid that has a very tough upbringing, very intelligent. He has a lot of potential, but he is used by the Nazi state to use his intelligence, his nature for evil, essentially, to hunt down Jewish people, and so he gets involved in that. So it's a tragic story on his end because of all the potential he has and how he's molded into somebody that is used for evil, essentially. And so I really enjoyed seeing the dynamic side of good and evil played out, and how it's not so clear-cut all the times whenever it comes to people that are good-natured but are under a terrible system, essentially. And so that's what I really found interesting about the book. It's really incredible. It's fully deserving of the Pulitzer Prize, in my opinion, and I think you should definitely pick it up. Rating, I gave it a 4 out of 5, just because 5s I try to reserve for like the best of books, and this was incredible. One of the best books I've read this year. Really kind of captivating. You almost want to wish it was a true story because of how incredible it is, because the true stories are always amazing. But he really takes specific lives, specific individual stories, and applies it and sets them in a setting that is destructive, but something great comes out of it. And so I would highly recommend picking it up. It is absolutely phenomenal. Deserves every bit of praise that's in there. Thank you guys for watching this. I know it's a super short video, a super short review. I'm going to try and crank some more out here, and I'm just going to upload them rapid fire to the channel. So if you liked some of these videos, or if you have any book recommendations, let me know what you think. Subscribe to the channel if you like any of the book reviews or any of the other content on there. So thank you guys for keeping updated with the channel, and thank you for the positive feedback. That really makes me smile when I see it every day, a notification on my phone when I have a comment. I love interacting with you guys, so please continue to do it. Send any questions or anything. But thank you guys. Keep the community. Keep reading. I'll see you guys in the next one.